And whenever this explosion happens, if September, October, I'm just telling you, it's coming this year. But if it goes down in September, within a week, maybe two maximum, all silver globally will probably be sold out. I'm going to repeat that. All silver globally is going to be sold out. You can't stop what's coming. And I believe it all triggers in September.
Psalm 91. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him I will trust. Surely He shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the perilous pestilence. He shall cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor the destruction that lays waste at noonday. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you. Only with your eyes shall you look and see the reward of the wicked, because you have made the Lord, who is my refuge, even the Most High, your dwelling place. No evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near you, your dwelling. For He shall give His angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. In their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. You shall tread upon the lion and the cobra, the young lion and the serpent you shall trample underfoot. Because He has set His love upon me, therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation.
And we want to welcome all of His Glory Nation from east to west to north to south. Welcome to today's Take 5. We have Bo Polny and Andrew Sorchini with us today, live version. All right, it's time for Bo Polny and Andrew Sorchini, Beverly Hills Precious Metal. Welcome back.
Oh, thanks for having us. It's nice to be back.
God bless. Thanks.
God bless is right, boy. Are we in some times, Bo?
So you're right. This is all biblical, how it's all playing out. And boy, is this wild that we're ending August. I'm telling you, I just want to start with this. Those of you who've been listening to us over the past 1, 2, 3 years, if you've been buying precious metals as a personal choice, when God flips the tables, this is going to be the greatest financial event in human history. This has never happened before. It will never happen again. When this event goes down, when this event happens, this financial event, because God is going to flip the tables on these people. Silver, my best guess, within 1-2 weeks maximum, will be completely sold out and you will not be able to buy it anymore.
Wow.
So when God intervenes, silver is going to go like you've never seen before. And it's going to be one of the greatest, it's going to be the greatest insurance policy against the financial system and against the global elite. And basically, it's I put my money on God's word. And what was God's word? Haggai 2:8, the silver and the gold are mine, saith the Lord. I'll just finish with, you can't stop what's coming. You can't stop what's coming. And I believe it all triggers in September. And we'll talk about that later in the podcast today.
Yeah, to tie into that, Bo, what Barry's prophetic word, I believe he had it 2 days ago. He released it today on His Glory. Babylon government will have a death blow. The whole Babylon system is coming down. And he did mention silver and gold being God's money.
The Lord opened up a screen before me to my left. And it's like a computer screen. It's just right there, driving down the road. And on the screen appeared 1776. And I knew immediately that was the year 1776. I'm looking at this and it faded away, and 2024 showed up on the screen. And instinctively, I obviously knew that, we're in 2024. So as I'm watching this, on my screen, all of a sudden these two dates, 1776 and 2024, superimposed over each other. And I watched as they actually became one. 2024 absorbed, 1776, and they kind of became one. And I knew by the Spirit of God that what took place in 1776 was going to be surpassed in history by what is going to be released and what is happening right now in 2024. And all of a sudden, the screen turns into fireworks.
You will go into November, and I will bring you victory upon victory upon victory upon victory.
I saw truth being released, justice being released, and in a moment, evil regimes had to pull out every stop with every evil intention, plan and action to try and stop the deployment of justice that was here and now, and it was really encroaching them from every side. It was no longer being in wait, it was here. And the Lord's justice was being deployed. I saw a plethora of military law enforcement taking massive action to arrest and contain these evil ones who were responsible for every inhumane action and corrupt deed. And the rebirthing of the nation was at hand. Babylonian systems no longer in control.
Barry's prophetic word, I believe he had it 2 days ago. He released it today on his glory. Babylon government will have a death blow. The whole Babylon system is coming down, and he did mention silver and gold being God's money. Andrew, you and I were talking before we even went live that even if they held it back, your thought is $100 an ounce, even if they kept holding it back, which I don't believe they're going to be able to hold it back much longer.
I agree. It's so I was trying to estimate when silver could hit $100 an ounce, and I can name many reasons why it should do it right away, but I think conservatively before the end of the decade. And that's not really that far off. And I base that on where gold is headed, and also looking at charts like Bo does. If you go on Kitco and you look at the price of silver, which today it's a little bit over $29 an ounce, and then you hit the 1 year chart, it shows that it was at $20 an ounce exactly a year ago today. So it's up 18% in that time. So I'm with Bo, where typically silver is an insurance policy against all your other assets. And when stocks and real estate are not doing good, then chances are silver is going to be doing okay. Or and same with gold. But it has become a decent investment in the last year. Gold has been unbelievable. Gold has remarkably enough been over $2,500 an ounce for a couple of weeks or longer right now. It's just one big day away from surpassing the all-time high of $2,530 an ounce. And so many different people out there are saying that that gold will surpass 3,000 an ounce soon. That includes like Citigroup and Goldman Sachs. I mean, some of the big players out there that really don't have much skin in the game, or at least they act like they don't, are saying that gold and silver have great potential. So I think our secret to this great way to hedge against inflation and many other things, the cat's out of the bag, and people are starting to learn about it, and it's picking up steam, and it's only the beginning.
Go ahead, Bo.
Yeah, I'll add to the fact that, regardless of what we think, you see, we can think all we want, but then God's got a greater plan. And so when God intervenes, everything we think becomes extremely less important, right? So I can't disagree with Andrew, $100 silver by the end of the decade, in essence, that would be a no-brainer. But now if God intervenes, we're going to see $100 silver this year. You see, so that's the difference. When they're trying to manipulate the price to hold precious metals down. But when God intervenes, because it's coming, I don't care what anybody has to say. Pastor Dave, myself, and Andrew will be proven 1,000% correct, not because we want to be, but because we are here as voices, speaking God's word, and what we're doing we're telling where our job is. I truly believe our mission, our job that God's appointed us to do is to educate the world about finance and the financial system. I've said it before, I'll say it again, and I'll say it 1,000 more times. The financial system is a fraud. Let it sink in. The financial system is a fraud. So when you go check your 401ks, your IRAs, your bank account, and you see all these digits, you don't see money. you see digits. They simply click buttons and these digits appear in your bank account. That's all it is. Because if every single person ran to the bank right now to pull out their digits, there wouldn't be enough paper. And even the $250,000 FDIC insurance, based on the Frank Dodd Act, you're no longer you're a lender. Your money becomes a loan to the bank, and the bank actually owns your money the moment you put your money in the bank based on the Frank Dodd Act. But that's the lesser of the evils. The worst is the amount of money that the FDIC has to insure. They say you have 250,000 per account. The problem is the amount of money supply. Remember, they've been creating money like lunatics for the past 4 years. And so now the money supply in everybody's bank accounts, if they'll have to use the FDIC insurance, it would account for roughly, and Andrew probably can agree with this, 1% of your bank account. So if you had $100 in your bank account, the FDIC insurance will cover $1. Let that sink in. That's how much money they're lacking in the FDIC insurance. In other words, the whole system now is a complete fraud. And when you, it's like it started off as a good thing. You would go to the bank, deposit a piece of gold, and then you get some paper so you can allow for easy transactions. But now we're at beyond the 50-year mark, and we're 111 years since the Federal Reserve Act, and now we're at a point where everything is completely flipped upside down. And that's why God intervened. You have to understand, why would God finally intervene? Because it gets to the point where it's the end of the end of the end. In other words, there's no way out. There's no way out of this scenario. They have captured the entire globe. They control everything, and they have such pride and arrogance that they're not scared of anybody. You want an example of that? Pastor Dave just literally a couple days ago, on I think it was the 23rd of August, a few days ago, play the Nancy Pelosi clip. This is how arrogant these people are. Please listen to the arrogance. They don't even hide who they are anymore. Like, why would she say this? Pastor Dave, listen to this. This is crazy. And Andrew, please, after you listen to this clip, explain to me why Nancy Pelosi would say this unless it is the truth, because it slipped out. And secondly, they don't care because they control the globe.
But let's play the clip.
And here's Nancy Pelosi. You might remember her as being the former Speaker of the House. And listen to what she says in this clip in regards to the political races for those in the congressional seats. Listen. This is just bizarre. Check it out.
We're different from the president. We're very discreet, reptilian, cold-blooded,
Wow.
What?
It's the first
We
time I've
battle not against flesh and blood, principalities, princes of darkness. We know the reptilians. These are serpents. Okay, what is she talking about there? Like, please ask yourself the question: what the heck is she talking about there? Why would she even say that? You see, pride and arrogance. They think they're in charge of the world right now.
Well, that's another prophetic word that Julie said many times from the Lord, that they will speak things out loud. It will come out on video. Nancy Pelosi spoke this morning, too. There's a video going out about how she failed on January 6th. So more and more of these videos are coming out.
And just to add to what Bo was saying about the FDIC, I was looking at my phone moments ago because I was trying to find a screenshot that I took of a video that Clay Clark plays all the time. And I know both of you have seen it, but it's a video where there's an FDIC meeting and it's being recorded. I don't know if it's a secret recording or not, but they're talking about bail-ins and how they're going to manipulate us through bail-ins, and how they're going to control runs on the banks, which is when people go in and pull their cash out. And on the graphic, which I need to find it, but Clay Clark said exactly how much they insure. And just to generalize, they insure trillions of dollars of deposits with only billions of dollars in coverage. Trillions of dollars of deposits with only billions of dollars in coverage. So it's exactly to what Bo said, and people could get badly hurt by having too much in the banks. And one thing that's troubling for me is I remember in the 1980s when I first started working for the coin shop, when my boss would send me to the bank to go and make the bank deposits. That was the first time I remembered seeing what FDIC was and what the insurance was. And it said that your deposits are insured for up to $250,000 per account through FDIC. Well, that was in the 1980s. If you walk into a bank right now, it still says 250,000. But back then, 250,000 must have had the buying power of what, 3, 4, 5 million compared to now. So it really doesn't make sense. They're not really trying to protect us. They're just trying to have something there that's a safeguard so that we feel okay giving them money that they're not going to have on hand a couple of weeks later. And just one final point about the banks. I have someone that works with us who recently had their accounts closed, and the bank doesn't want to deal with them anymore. And the person said, fine. Give me the 70,000 that's in there. And they said, well, we'll give you a cashier's check for that. And he says, look, you don't want my business. I don't want your check. Give me the cash. And they said, I'm sorry, sir, we don't have that much cash here. And that's something to really let sink in. We know this, but I'm illustrating it with an exact example that happened this week. So for me, I just want to have it where I can get it. I don't want to be at the mercy of some bank's hours. Okay. And the bank can close when they run out of cash, when there's a bank run. We saw that happen in 2008, where people lined up outside of the banks. And when they ran out of cash, they just turned around the sign and said, close for the day. So that can just as easily happen again.
Going back to that video that you're referring to, the FDIC, I don't know if it's the same one that they openly mock the American, the people, saying that they're going to be protected and we won't be. And they said that part out loud.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that somebody can have that recording. It's got to be a secret recording, and if it wasn't, then I wonder what they're trying to accomplish. But I've seen it at least 10 times, and I need to have Clay send us a copy of it because it's something that everybody out there should see.
Wow.
If the banks closed today, ask yourself the question, this is not about us telling you what to do. This is about us just making you think. Because a wise man, when asked a question, will ask a question in return. So my question to you would be, if the banks closed today, would you be okay? Would you be okay? If the banks had all their doors shut, would you be okay? Do you have some extra cash at home? And if you don't, the more important thing is, do you own God's money? Because God's money, gold and silver, it's simply an insurance policy. My other question to you would be, do you have car insurance? Do you have health insurance? You see, if you believe in insurance, then why would you not own at least 1 ounce of silver or many ounces of silver? Why would you not own God's money? Because you're simply putting your money on God. And at some point, God is going to flip the scales. Go study scripture. When you understand that when God's had enough of the evil and the corruption, he shows up. And I think if you've listened to Pastor Dave enough and the prophetic voices he's had to come on his channel, you'll come to realize that I would say we're at enough is enough. God's at a point where something's about to happen. And then biblically, we're at some very important time points. And why I reference that is because if you go back and study history, there's Revelation 12 sign. Revelation 12 is a very important thing. There's a reason that was in the heavenlies. All this stuff is not just random. There's reasons we see all these, because God scripturally says there will be sign in the sun and the moon and the stars. Okay. That's biblical. It's in Matthew. So if you go ahead and look at what we're talking about, what I want people to understand that are listening is just study Revelation 12 sign. Why did that happen in the heavenlies? Ask yourself a question. Why did it happen? But it did. The other question is, why was it written in the Bible 2,000 years ago that it would happen? And then it happened. You see, so Revelation 12 sign occurred on September 23rd, 2017. Now, the wild part of this is we know in Daniel, he speaks specifically about 7-year cycles. If you take 7 years and you go specifically 7 years from the Revelation 12 sign, it's this September 23rd, 2024. And repeat that. September 23rd, 2017, if you add 7 years, it's September 23rd, 2024. The other, and the prior Revelation 12 sign was 2020 years prior to September 2017, and that was September 3 BC when Christ was born in the heavenlies, potentially. But this sign did happen because I've gone back in Stellaria. What I'm saying is 7 is very important biblically in the Daniel cycle of time. So Daniel speaks about 7 years. If you take 7 years from 2017 September, this September 23rd is 7 years. Now, why I reference that is for a specific reason, because there's a Kim Clement prophecy, and let's play that video. It's called Beginning in September. Listen to the video and ask yourself the question, why would Kim Clement be saying that? Why would he be saying beginning in September? But listen to the prophecy, and you can't disregard or discard that prophecy, because why? Kim Clement prophesied like 15 years before Trump would be God's trumpet. You see, so all of these things are happening. Kim Clement is a true prophet of God, and he's saying the word specifically beginning in September. So let's have a listen to the video.
But this is for you, says the Lord. The tide is turning for you. A very strange thing shall happen in September. Moving into the fall where there shall be a great fall. Fall of the enemies, fall of kings, fall of princes. Watch and see, for God says beginning in September, I will turn everything around, and my people shall see an intervention of a kind that they have never seen before.
Have you thought about owning gold and silver? Why is Kim Clement speaking of that? Why is it exactly 7 years from the Revelation 12 sign? These are just questions I'm asking, and you should be asking yourself. And if you are asking these questions of yourself, and if you listen to the prophetic voices that have been on Pastor Dave's show, I'm telling you, we're at a moment in time where something's about to go down. And everything that I'm looking at is September is, I believe in my heart, that we're at a point where we are going to finally see an explosion of magnitudes that we can't even imagine in precious metals. And whenever this explosion happens, if September, October, I'm just telling you, it's coming this year. But if it goes down in September, within a week, maybe 2 maximum, all silver globally will probably be sold out. I'm going to repeat that. All silver globally is going to be sold out, because all the money that we've been talking about, that they've, the Andrew's actually stating, the FDIC, they went from billions, now we're in the trillions. You have to understand that 1,000 billion is a trillion, and now we're in the many trillions, quadrillions, which is 1,000 trillion. So the money, this insane amount of money that's globally, that's around the world, is in a heartbeat going to find its way into silver and gold, and silver is going to go like you've never seen before. And gold is simply leading the race. If this is I've talked about this before, if this is like a horse race, gold is the horse out of the race, out of the brackets first off. Silver's just hanging behind. And Andrew, please expand upon this. But the only reason they're doing everything in their power to hold back silver, because if one billionaire stepped up, all the above ground silver would be gone. And so they basically have this little quiet pact that they're allowed to buy gold, but they are not allowed to touch silver, because if one billionaire came in and stepped up and said something, like if Elon Musk said something about silver, forget about it, it's gone. It is literally all the above would be gone. And so they are not allowed to speak about God's monies, but specifically, they cannot reference silver as an asset class to own. But when God intervenes, forget about it. It's going to go like you've never seen before. And when the prices begin to multiply, anybody and everybody, including the grandma, is going to jump in and say, get me some of that silver. And very soon it'll be all sold out.
Oh, yeah. And just in this last week, just to add on to that, people out there might have seen an article about Samsung creating a new silver battery. And this is a battery that's going to go in electric cars. And it's actually a lighter battery than what they're already using. So as far as the weight that it has, it's going to make the cars lighter. It's almost solid silver, and this alone could wipe out the available silver that's out there. And I'm talking about the silver that's not already in coins, the silver that's being used for industrial items. And this is only the beginning, because again, this takes us to the end of the decade. That's roughly when it is that we're supposed to all go electric as far as new cars. And I think it's actually happening sooner than that, like in the next year or two, where you're not going to really be able to buy a gas vehicle for much longer. So if this is a case, and when people are trading out of old cars and into new cars, and some people are getting their first electric car, this really is going to create a shortage on silver, because they're not going to be able to mine it unless the price of silver goes up in value, because it costs a minimum $20 an ounce to pull silver out of the ground. And silver sitting at $29. So for years, they couldn't even mine it because it wasn't worth it. Now it's starting to be, but as it starts to become more valuable, this alone could really propel it past 50, past 60, or even right to that $100 an ounce. And really, it's coming. And just another thing is that we've talked about the silver holdings that JP Morgan Chase has. Yep. Last I heard, which was a long time ago, that they were holding over 600 million physical ounces of silver. And at the same time, they're hedging that silver by betting that silver is going to go down in value. So what they do is they have what they call a long position on 600 million ounces of silver minimum. And at the same time, they're taking a short position on the commodities market. So they're holding it in place. It's the same as if on this year's Super Bowl, you said, I'm going to bet $100 on the home team and $100 on the visiting team. Well, you're not going to win any money, because one's going to win and one's going to lose. That's exactly what the banks are doing. And why would they do that? The silver is a hedge against everything else that they're doing. It's kind of their safety net. And right now, commercial real estate is in a lot of trouble, especially in Los Angeles and in New York City, in Manhattan. So that silver and whatever gold they have could be a hedge against that imploding. And from many of the articles that I've read recently, that's yet another factor that could help gold and silver start to skyrocket. And that doesn't even take into account the two big wars that are happening in the world, and our election, which is going to have a ripple effect on the entire world. So for me, I'd rather have gold and silver wherever I feel that it's safe than dollars in the bank.
Well, that comes on the heels of a report today that I saw. I think we retweeted it out, about 7 banks that are in financial serious trouble. One of them is JP Morgan Chase.
Yeah.
Just before we go to commercial, I want to play this one little video clip, because what you're speaking about, Andrew, I actually did a little research on it. And so that's the huge problem with that, is because at some point, silver is going to go to $1,000 an ounce, which means that 1 kilo, look at this. It's a little joke, but basically you have to understand, when silver is $1,000 an ounce, that kilo becomes worth $32,000.
We'll be right back after this.
Beverly Hills Precious Metals Exchange is a client-focused firm devoted to assisting our clients with precious metals. Our clients range from first-time to serious coin collectors and investors seeking to add precious metals to their investment portfolios. We are not interested in volatile investments, leveraged products, and intangible assets. With rising inflation and the devaluing of the dollar hurting middle-class families, investing in gold and silver ensures protection for your hard-earned money. Save the value of your money today by investing in gold and silver at Beverly Hills Precious Metals.
And we are back with Bo and Andrew. Just amazing times we live in. God has it. These are glory days, not gloomy days, as Manuel Johnson says all the time. We not to gloom and doom. Trust God, light wins. But we're going to be in some crazy times the next 60 days or so.
Yes, we are.
Sure.
Well, let's actually start this segment off with another Kim Clement prophecy. So the prophecy specifically talks about it's video clip number 4, and it talks about the summer will be the mediator, and summer the 45 days. We're still in the 45-day window, which ends on the 20th of September. So we're still in summer, and summer will be the mediator between spring and fall, so that the fall can do its work in America. But now, very interesting, because we're talking a little bit of some finance here as well too, and listen to the clip closely, because Kim actually states, "Summer, I, the Lord God, will prosper my people." So, Pastor Dave, when I say to you, when God says, "I will prosper my people," what would that mean to you?
It would be a blessing, a tithe, and a blessing to further his kingdom.
Right. Okay, so then let's watch the video and ask those listening, ask yourself, why is Kim Clement speaking, or why is God speaking through him, saying in the summer there'll be 2 earthquakes, eruptions? We're seeing eruptions popping off globally. Okay, we're seeing globally. We're seeing earthquakes and eruptions popping off globally. We're still in summer. The mediator. So we're seeing all of these prophecies manifest. So far the prophecy, this is July, strange July, tumultuous July. Well, we saw the attempted assassination of Trump. Yeah. Well, talk about tumultuous. Okay, so that prophecy held. So every prophetic word that Kim spoke about July and summer has happened so far, except this one. Summer, I will prosper my people. Let's play the prophecy and let's listen.
There are 2 E's that I see. One E is the word erupt. The other is earthquake. Many are prophesying about earthquakes, but there is a national park where there is an eruption under the earth. It is a sign that I shall contain that which would try and be destructive in this nation. A volcano as a sign. And then there will be another earthquake, says the Lord. Keep your eyes open, for this sign is to cause the earth to yield of its produce, that the great E may come forth rapidly. This is my promise, says the Lord. Therefore, take heed today. As you come to me and strike the rock, I will release that which has been held back from you and cause triumph to be sounded in your mouths, says the Lord. Summer reaches to spring and to fall. I will be the mediator, says summer. I will uncover. I will defend. My sun will shine. But yet beneath the earth there is a rage. Eruptions. Summer says, why choose they me? Why do the tornadoes, the hurricanes choose me? I am summer. I bring smiles. I bring sunshine. I bring warmth. Summer, take it. For thus says the Lord, I will prosper my people. I will prosper my people. For the summer shall bring forth much in the temperatures. Strange July, strange July.
Amazing.
Go back and listen to that. We've seen virtually all pieces of that happen so far. We've seen the volcano go off in Yellowstone. We're seeing volcanic eruption globally right now. We've had the hottest day, I believe it was the 12th or 13th, something like that, of July, globally ever recorded. He said hot summer, hot July. See, every piece is manifested so far. We're still in summer, did not end until the 20th of September. I'm just telling you, I really hope people have been listening to us. I know many have. And I just think this is a final shout out here for what's coming down here in September. And I really hope people have listened and are doing something, because God's going to do something. These people are at an extreme point of arrogance right now, completely arrogant. And on top of that, they're doing everything in their power. We're watching right now to not lose control, lose power. So it's really wild what we're seeing manifest. And actually, let's play this one more last video here, because it talks about, so we talk about September, and I want Andrew's take on the BRICS video that I'm going to play right here. So let's play the BRICS video, and then Andrew can expand upon that, because we're talking about, God's going to potentially do something based on prophetic voices in September. And then you've got this huge, huge meeting in October with regards to the BRICS. And what are their plans? To decimate the US dollar. And what is the third thing? We've been speaking specifically, they've built Babylon with the US dollar. Yep. So in other words, they control humanity. So it's the world's reserve currency. So the BRICS are trying to dethrone the world's reserve currency. When you dethrone it, it's a worldwide game changer, and it will be devastating to the United States economy. So let's play the video.
Do you know what BRICS is planning to reveal at its October summit this year? There are various reports suggesting that BRICS has already developed a new currency and a payment system and is waiting for the summit. At this event, all BRICS members will unite and collectively launch a new payment system that will be the beginning of the end of dollar and SWIFT. BRICS wants to announce this news at the summit instead of doing it silently. In other words, this time, BRICS really want to create shockwaves that will reach the West. The new BRICS payment system is designed to allow member nations to bypass the Western-dominated SWIFT system, bolstering the bloc's efforts to move away from reliance on the US dollar. Therefore, if this payment system is adopted, the West will no longer be able to enforce sanctions. It's true that sanctions will be put in place, but they won't be effective because the West won't be controlling the finances of the BRICS countries. There are also reports that the BRICS payment system won't be the only thing launched at the summit. It will be complemented by the launch of a BRICS currency, which would ultimately serve to reduce reliance on the US dollar. Speculation about the BRICS currency's launch date suggests it could be as early as October 2024.
It's true. I was just looking at some notes that I've gathered from several different articles about exactly that. So for people that might not be aware of, the BRICS nations and then some have been hoarding the Earth's gold in record amounts in 2024. It actually started last year. Over 50 countries are currently ready right now to use the new BRICS payment system. I mean, it's already set. There's 47 new countries that are formally going to apply to join BRICS ahead of this summit in October. And there's another 159 countries that are set to adopt the BRICS payment system, which happens to be 81.5% of the Earth's countries. So, I mean, this is happening. I believe it's not just going to kill the dollar as the world's reserve currency, but it's going to kill all fiat currency out there. Russia's currency, China's, every country that's in BRICS. And that's what their plan is to usher us into some sort of digital type of payment system. And hopefully it is gold backed. Hopefully the United States will come out with something that's better than that. And either way, they're not hoarding up the Earth's gold for nothing. They're getting in on the ground floor. They know that if we go to a gold-backed system, the price of gold's going to go up quite a bit. It already has started, and silver is going to probably go up multiples percentage-wise. So what's good for gold is great for silver, and the writing's on the wall. But I'll tell you that most people aren't going to act on it at all because it feels safe. We're walking around with dollars in our pockets. We're able to buy things, and it just feels like everything's normal. You turn on your local news, you don't see anything about it. And I've mentioned on the last couple times that I've been on these interviews that I've done quite a bit of traveling in the last 3 years through multiple countries in different regions like Asia, Europe, the Middle East, and they don't care about the dollar. They're not really accepting paper currency as much. They're using electronic payments, typically credit cards, which I think will be pretty much defunct here real soon. And then also when you turn on the local news there and you see the world news coverage, they do talk about BRICS. They show what's really happening in these other countries, like wars in Ukraine and what's really happening in Israel. And we don't see that here. So the rest of the world knows, but we're not being told the truth here.
81%. The train's left the station.
It has.
Yep.
For all this to be going on in the world and people really not even knowing about it, like, it's crazy that we talk about it in all of our podcasts, but yet if you step outside your door and go to the grocery store and have a conversation with somebody, I'm telling you, I've done this. Like, no one knows what's going on. It's crazy. So it's what a blessing to have Pastor Dave and his channel, and I'll speak on my channel to try to get the message out. But again, there's billions of people in this world, and it's so sad that so many of them globally still watch mainstream media and are wrapped up in what they say, and there's so much going on behind the scenes. Like, just the fact that we're seeing all these prophecies unfold. So everything is not political, it's actually biblical, and I keep repeating that. And we're seeing biblical things happen right in front of our eyes. And yet the world is asleep, but scripturally it says, they'll be celebrating, they'll be dancing and wedding, everything. And then the bridegroom shows up. But there's always that but. God, before Christ ever return to this earth, his name will be spoken across the four corners of the earth. The bride will be without spot and wrinkle. And so what we're still waiting for is what is always written behind Pastor Dave in the title of this show, his glory. His glory is going to come upon the earth and create such signs, miracles, and wonders that are going to be just breathtaking, that we will not be able to explain away, and mainstream media will be forced to speak about these miracles. So we're going to see incredible things happen very soon here. And, we were just talking about October. Maybe Pastor Dave can expand upon this, but, here's October. So we've got October right here. And Pastor Dave, if you can go to maybe full screen on this, check out all of the feasts. Look at this.
And God works on his Hebrew calendars. You got Rosh Hashanah, you got Feast of Tabernacles, you got the Day of Atonement, the 10 days of awe. It's chock full. Just look at through history of all the times God moves on his calendar. It's mind blowing.
If I look at this for a minute with you and just look at this, Elul 29, that's when 9/11 occurred. You see what I'm saying? There's so many events that have occurred on Elul 29. We've had stock market crashes, multiple on Elul 29. 9/11, Elul 29.
I'm going to bring this last part, I'm going to call it the Elul factor.
Okay.
It says in the Bible, in Deuteronomy, it says at the end of every 7 years, you'll have a release of debts. So you will have a remission. The financial realm gets affected. There's a wiping out, a wiping clean. When does it happen? The end of the 7th year is the month of Elul. That's the last month on the civil calendar. Elul, leading up to Elul 29. Now, we already saw in some of the last Shemitahs, it was so precise that actually on the day you have the greatest crashes, period. But the overall pattern, thing, you have Elul, the month of nullification. But when you get to the end of the Shemitah, this Elul period, you often have some, didn't have to happen, but you have some dramatic things happening in world history. Attack of 9/11 happens the last week of Elul. This is the time of nullification. World War II comes to its conclusion last week of Elul of the Shemitah, of the 7-year Shemitah, just like 9/11. The Shemitah of 2001 sees the greatest collapse in history the last week of the Shemitah Elul. So the 2008. The pattern is that it tends to, if you're looking for dramatic tends to happen at the end of the Shemitah, at this period, this Elul. Worst intraday crash in Wall Street history, Elul. Global markets all collapse on Elul. Everything went crazy. Hundreds of billions wiped out in the month of Elul. Elul 29, the day of nullification. We're going to put it on that graph, and to see how close the 70% of the greatest crashes happened to the day that God appointed. Put up the graph.
Wow.
Every single one of them happens within 99% to 100% proximity to the day God appointed to wipe out the financial realm.
Look at this, Elul 29, that's when 9/11 occurred. You see what I'm saying? There's so many events that have occurred on Elul 29. We've had stock market crashes, multiple on Elul 29. 9/11, Elul 29. And then, so that's the start of the feasts. And then the end is Tabernacles. Check this out.
You go back to a videos that I did last year with you, Pastor Dave, yourself, and Andrew. We were saying to watch the last day of Tabernacles. We could see something happen. What happened on the last day of Tabernacles? The calculations are telling us it's year 2023. There's 3 fall feasts. We're in the last one. Trumpets is gone. Atonements is finished. That was on the 25th. And all that's left is Tabernacles. And you and I are speaking right now on the 3rd of October in the time point of Tabernacles, which ends this Friday, October 6th. God is moving. Tabernacles ends this Friday. Something, I believe, is coming.
This week.
This broadcast. Yeah, on this Friday, potentially, or into the Friday, into the Saturday, because it's basically Israel time versus United States time. So we run a 50-year cycle. 50 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, but more importantly, relative to war and conflict, the Yom Kippur War. David, let me read this to you. The Yom Kippur War, also called the October War, was initiated by Egypt and Saudi Arabia on what day? October 6th.
Yeah.
1973, on the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur. Let's do a 50-year Leviticus cycle. Oh, coincidentally, this Friday, the last day of Tabernacles, October 6th.
This was not what you thought you would wake up to on a Saturday morning. Talk to us about the larger historical context. We heard there from Rath is the 50th anniversary of that other awful surprise attack back in 1973.
A war which eventually drew both the United States and the Soviet Union. Sound familiar? 2 nations right now.
Wow.
And the war had a significant impact on the trajectory of an eventual peace process between Egypt and Israel. The Tabernacle War started, which was exactly 50 years to the day of the Yom Kippur War, but it was 50 years to the exact day. It was the last day of Tabernacles, which this year is the 23rd. And it's very interesting, the next day after that, as though, watch my work, 124. 124 shows up at the very, very end of all of the feasts. So we don't know what's going to go down. But when you go study scriptures, we've seen very clearly that incredible God moves on his feasts.
Yep.
They're not our feasts. They're God's feasts. And a feast specifically would be an appointed time. That's the best way to describe it. It's God's appointments. So these are very important time points in our world. And so October is just, look at the calendar I laid out there. Pretty much the entire month is biblical. And it's wild because that's literally leading us into the month of November. And I've stated this before. I might as well just read this one more time again, because this is really worth reading. Back to the Kim Clement prophecy. And it says, God said, this is a time, and especially at the end of October, okay, on the one day they call Halloween, shall be a very strange occurrence that shall take place in this nation. And the people shall be very afraid. And then suddenly the mourning shall turn to dancing. So what that's saying is there's something potentially expected to happen on their witching hour. And then the morning, doesn't mean the next morning, but shortly thereafter, we're going to leap into dancing. And the other prophecy by several other prophets was, and even Kim, I believe, stated that November brings victory upon victory upon victory upon victory. So we're in a very important moment in our world. This election is going to be the election of centuries, but I think we've been very clearly illustrated, and maybe you can say something different, but in 2020, I think they illustrated what they can do with elections. I think we were very clear what they can do with elections, so I don't see how anything would be different this time around. So that's why at the Red Sea, it was very clear what Moses said to the Israelites: stand still and watch the salvation of the Lord, for he will work for you today. The present day, or the Egyptians who you see before you, soon you shall never see again. Let's go back to what Nancy Pelosi was saying. She was calling herself a reptilian. You see, the present day Egyptians who you see before you, soon you shall never see again. Whose battle is it, Pastor Dave?
The battle's the Lord's.
Right. This is a global syndicate. A global syndicate. They will not back down. This is a fight to the death. And they will not back down. And that's why when he shows up, it's over in a day. And so ultimately with the Red Sea, I love the example because it was nothing but a total, think about all the plagues, everything. It was a total setup to get Israel to the Red Sea and then use them as bait to get Pharaoh in there. And in a single day, this is coming. In our lifetime, we're going to see in a single day that Julie Green's prophesied on your show, that other people have prophesied, that's scripturally written in a single day. In a single day. And I believe it happens overnight. I believe we're going to wake up to one of the greatest mornings we've ever seen in our life. And it all comes down. It's going to happen this year.
Well,
this Thanksgiving is expected, let's finish on this point. This Thanksgiving, Pastor Dave, mathematically, is expected to be the first Thanksgiving
that we've ever seen in history based on the new era. So something's expected to happen here, and that starts the blessings, and that starts the greatest revival in human history. That's the Bob Jones prophecy, the start of the building soul harvest.
Wow. And that matches a lot of prophetic voices that the October surprise will come, evil will think they won, and it will be flipped. God flips it. So we're talking in that same period, October, November timeframe, as Kim comment there too. It's amazing.
And I want to say this, it lines up with cycle work because we see an explosion in precious metals, an incredible move, and then you see and then they're going to come in and they're going to collapse it. We're going to see a collapse in the precious metals. So we're probably going to hit 60, 70, maybe $100 an ounce in silver. They're going to smash it back down, and then we're going to go 3-digit. And so that would line up with what you just said, Pastor Dave, is they're going to come in with the guns a-blazing at the God's going to make them think they won.
Yep. It's coming.
So Andrew, how do they get precious metals? Is it available? Are the prices good?
Yeah, the premiums are.
The main thing is it available? Because we're going to come out here sometime and say, hey, Andrew, here's what happened, but can you sell any? Is there any to sell? No, all sold out, nothing to sell. And so I'm just saying, we're going to have that podcast this year that Andrew's going to be talking. We'll talk about precious metals, but there's nothing to buy. So Andrew, can you buy it right now? Because if you can buy it right now, it's still a good day.
Yeah, the metals are still available right now. The premiums are the lowest they've been in a long time. And the reason is that people have been preparing over the last 3-4 years very, very heavily. And many of them have taken the bulk of their retirements and the bulk of their savings and put it into gold and silver. Now enough time has gone by where sometimes they need to dip into that gold and silver a little bit and sell some of it back to us or some of the other companies out there. So there have been partial liquidations so that people can cover emergencies or make ends meet. And that's exactly what it's intended for. It's the most liquid asset out there that I could think of. So if something happened in your life and you needed to pull some money out of your home, you can't pull it out as quickly as you could if you were to sell back part of your gold and silver. And we help people do that. We don't take a commission when people sell it back to us. We just buy it back at the same rate that we can get it at wholesale at any given point. So it's a very, very liquid market. And because of that, the metals are available and they're priced very fairly right now. So it's just one big event away, one tweet from somebody like Elon Musk, like Bo said. It was a year or two ago. We had one of the heirs to the Walmart fortune, which really hasn't been confirmed that it was them, but it was someone that bought $50 million in silver, and that put a big strain on the silver market. So as much silver that is out there, it's just one big event or one big purchase away from putting a big squeeze on silver. So get it while it's available. Reach out to us on bh-pm.com. and fill out that online form. And don't forget, when you fill out the online form, there's a name, email address, phone number, and where it says, how did you hear about us? Please put in Bull, Polny, or Gold 2020 forecast. Today, when I was looking through the submissions, I've had people in the notes section there say, I'm a returning client, I'm looking to add more gold, or I'm looking to add more silver. But whatever you put in that notes section there is how we're going to help you the best. This isn't a high pressure deal. We'll talk to you about the different options and why gold might be good for one person and why silver might be good for another. But definitely reach out because we know what's coming. The rest of the road's going to be rocky. I would forget about the traditional investments until the first of the year and maybe longer, but it's good to park it somewhere safe in the meantime.
Would you touch on 401ks and IRAs real quick? Because I still I get that question a lot. People don't understand that, I don't think.
And also say the time frame. So if someone came on and say, I want to do a 401k, how long would it take? How long does the transactions take? And also compare that with, like, I just going to cash in my account. How does that take? So just compare all that, please, Andrew.
Yeah, so when it comes to the 401ks or the IRAs, the way that it works is once you schedule a consultation with us, we'll talk about whether or not it works for you. So, for example, if you work at a 401k or if you work at a company where the 401k was originated at, chances are you couldn't dip into that unless you were at least 59 and a half years old. That's if you still work at the firm that it was originated at. If you're older than 59 and a half, or if it's a 401k from a company that you've since left, then that's fair game. You can transfer that over into a precious metals IRA. It's completely legal and it's not a taxable event. And you could go into gold and silver. You can sell a portion of it back at some point, have it sit in cash. It's a self-directed IRA. You can do whatever you want with it. The time to be able to get both the 401ks funded from the initial phone call with us is usually under 10 weeks. In many cases, it's 7 to 10 days, which is absolutely amazing. And it's a seamless process. We actually have a special onboarding process that we're pilot programming for one of the big IRA custodians. As far as I know, we're the only ones in the country that have it, and we're able to get these open very quickly in many cases. So it's a great thing to look into, and people should reach out about that. Now, as far as a cash purchase, that's where you wire funds, or if you send us a check to invest in gold and silver, the shipping time is within about 24 to 48 hours of us receiving the funds, the cleared funds. So with a wire transfer, oftentimes we can ship the same day or the next day, no more than 2 days after, which is very, very quick. Now, if the prices of gold and silver were to go up significantly higher than where we're at now, and if that were to strain the available supply, eventually those shipping times will be longer, not just for us, but for all the companies out there. So it's better to reach out when you can get your product quickly. And right now is that time.
What's going to happen when this goes? What's people's reaction going to just go crazy? And it's too late.
Everyone will be bandwagoned into doing this. They'll have FOMO, which is the fear of missing out, and they will call and they'll say, "I want silver eagles," or "I want the His Glory silver lion," and we're saying, "Great, we can help you with that. It's just we can't ship for 4 weeks." In that type of scenario. Right now, we're shipping very quickly. And I remember from back last time in 2011, we would tell people, "I'm sorry, but I can take your order. I can lock in the product. You will own the product, but I can't ship it for 4 days." That's how far everything is. I mean, not 4 days, 4 weeks, because everything is so heavily delayed, and people don't mind. In that scenario, they don't mind. But for me, and as Bo always puts it, the minute you send that wire transfer, you don't have your money and you don't have the metals. So there's that point where you have a little bit of discomfort, but at the same time, you're cautiously optimistic. And once you receive your product, you realize that you dealt with a company that's vouched for by people that you believe in, and you made a good move. But you want to make that as short of a wait time as you possibly can, because once it gets past about 4 weeks, it just doesn't feel good. And I don't want you to feel uncomfortable either. We're in the business of helping you sleep at night, not keeping you up at night.
Sleep at night, get into silver and gold, because this is inevitable. It's coming. God's money is going to be in charge. We'll be right back.